Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is Lisa, Job Coach Germany. A warm welcome from my side. I'm sending you, wonderful wishes from stormy northern part of Germany. And I'm very glad that you guys are here. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. And today I would like to talk to you guys about the letter of intent and where or whether there actually is a difference between the letter of intent and the cover letter. So Florian is here, it's Hardy is here, Let's Meet Me is here. Hi, it's great of you guys to be here. Thank you very much for joining me. So if you have any questions, let me know in the comments, and maybe you can already let me know whether you know what a letter of intent is. What does that mean? When do we use a letter of intent? So basically, I didn't do a poll again because I just wanted to cover all of the topics that I asked before, and some of you guys were interested in what actually is a letter of intent, and that's why I just wanted to cover this topic today. And well, when we're talking about a letter of intent, it's actually about a business topic. So that's what we know about, and Vince is here. Hello. So basically, how did you maybe come across this topic? So first of all, it could be something like a business term. Yeah. So a letter of intent is a contractual letter between two parties or several parties that are involved in a negotiation. So, and with this letter of intent, you normally the parties decide and write down in detail how they want to conclude the contract. And they want to say, or they want to find a way of how this negotiation, because it's probably very complex and it involves many different negotiation steps, how this is going to happen. And this is very often used in connection with mergers and acquisitions of companies. And so just keep in mind, that's where this topic is actually coming from. It's a business term. And sorry, just really quickly, somebody tried to call me on Facebook. This is really strange. Okay. Okay. So, so just keep in mind, so a letter of intent is very useful for contract negotiations if you know that these contract negotiations take longer, and if they are very, very complex. But that's not how you get along. And why is that really related to jobs and your job hunt? Well, maybe it happens that you are scanning your different job boards, different job platforms, and you obviously see job ads. And then you see at some point maybe that somebody says, okay, they are asking you to send the CV, or please submit a resume and a letter of intent. And that might be a phrase that you've never come across and that you've never seen before, which is totally fine. That's why I'm here and wanted to talk to you about this today. And actually, there are plenty of similarities between a letter of intent and a cover letter. However, there are also several differences. And that's what we want to look at today. So, when we are talking about jobs and how this business term of a letter of intent, so this contractual letter, how this is actually related to jobs, well, it's basically kind of like not this contract version. It's not about this negotiation between between two parties, just in a very broader sense, like you're negotiating whether you get a job or not. However, it's more, you can also say it's like a letter of interest. So it's an introductory letter to a potential employer of yours that you are interested in working with. And however, there is no specific job ad. So, for example, you find a company that you are really interested in, and you would really want to work with them. However, unfortunately, they have no job postings for your specific field or for your specific position. And that's when a letter of intent comes into place, comes into the picture. And for all of you guys, so in the English-speaking world, we would call it unsolicited applications. That's when it's very interesting. And when we're talking about German application, or in German, these terms, you need to look out for Blindbewerbung or Initiativbewerbung. So unsolicited application is Blindbewerbung in German, and a prospective application is Initiativbewerbung. And the difference between these two is basically with the unsolicited one, you don't have a contact with the company at all. So you don't know anybody. You don't have a contact reference or anybody from the company that you have already spoken to. That's when you do the unsolicited application. However, if you already know somebody or somebody from the HR department, maybe because you've spoken to them at a job fair, or you know them from a friend of yours, or it was a former customer or a former supplier of the company that you're working with right now, then obviously you already have a contact. However, there is still no job posting, and that's when you write a letter of intent. That's when you can write a letter of intent. Yeah, so keep that in mind. So this is what we're looking for today. Sometimes it happens that we are obviously overwhelmed with a job search, and there are so many job platforms out there, and you're screening and screening and screening, and you just simply don't find anything that is really relatable to your specific profile, to your specific career profile. And that's when you need to look more into the companies that you are interested in working for. So, and this could be anything. And I always tell my clients that it's important for you to find out what are, for example, the products or the services that you are so convinced of and that you love so much that you're talking about it to your friends, that you're recommending that to your friends. And that could be anything. It could be a cereal bar. It could be just any sort of technical device, or just a watch or something like that. But you really, really like that company. So then you think about that. Why do you like that company? Yeah. So what are the company values? Why can you relate to that company? And that's your base for the letter of intent. Yeah. So basically, it is set up in a way that you focus a lot more on the organization. You're focusing a lot more on the company instead of the job ad, and instead of focusing on your skills so much. It's more about that you really know this company, that you feel the vibe of that company, and that you want to, in this letter of intent, bring across that you're feeling this vibe and that you just want to be part of this family, of this company family, basically. Yeah. So, and you could get inspiration for that anywhere. Yeah, like I said, it can be in your private life, it can be also in your work life, when you're talking to your friends, when you're talking to your family. It can be anywhere. Okay, so let's take a look at when a letter of intent is actually appropriate to prepare. Yeah. So basically, when you're going to job fairs, you normally get with a job fair something like a table of contents or an overview of all of the companies that will be present at that particular job fair. And then you already have the time. So normally they open up this overview, this guide about the companies a couple of months beforehand, at least a month ahead, a month before the job fair starts. And that's when you start digging into your research. That's when you do your research. So basically what you're doing, you go through the companies and take a look at the profile and the description that you have received through this job fair guide. And then you take a look at whether you like that or not. If you like a company, then you go further. You take a look at their website, take a look at newspaper articles or any sort of social media presence that they have, and find out whether this company is a right fit for you or not. And take notes. That's the most important part. Always take notes. And this is what you will use then to already prepare your letter of intent in case you are going to a job fair. Yeah, or for example, nowadays the job fairs are online most of the time. Just have your entire application package prepared so that you can hand it out to a potential employer. Again, with a letter of intent for that particular company that you have researched beforehand. You can also at job fairs always have your CV at hand, just in case there pops up a presentation or a report of a company that you weren't aware of and that you weren't interested in beforehand, but at the job fair then itself, it was really interesting what they said and what they shared with the audience. And that's when you don't have to give, for example, a letter of intent or your cover letter, but you just simply hand out your CV. That's what you can do, yeah? Or you're asking for that particular person's contact card, yeah, the business card, and then you can take it home or you use that, and then you can send your letter of intent or your application to that particular person after the job fair, yeah? So then, another thing is, whenever you are interested in a particular company, so for example, in their projects that they're doing or anything that you found on the media. Maori is here as well. Hi. And or for example, any sort of work that they're currently doing, or as well their vision and their mission. If you are interested in that, and if that matches up with your career goals and your personal interests and your personal values, that's when you can actually come up with a letter of intent and send that to that particular company if they don't have a job ad available currently for you. It could also be the situation that you have heard from somebody else that this company is looking for people, that this company is, there are a lot of hearts and support and likes here on Facebook. I see that. Thank you very much. That's great. Thank you so much. So it might be that this company is then, oh no, so you have heard from, for example, from a colleague of yours or from a supplier, from a client, from a friend, from a family member, that a particular company that you are interested in has potential or has open positions, but they are not advertising their positions yet. Yeah, and whenever that is possible and you know that your career profile fits into that company, that's when you can send a letter of intent as well. Okay, so an employer looking for staff, however, they haven't yet advertised any jobs. Maybe they won't ever, because you have been quick enough with your letter of intent, with your application, and then they were able to fill the gaps or fill a gap that they were actually searching for. Yeah. Also, what might be very interesting is when an employer is advertising specific jobs in your field, however, not specific to your career profile. But you already know, okay, so this company is definitely in need of people like yourself, then you can go for it. Then you can send a letter of intent. Yeah. And basically, what is most important with a letter of intent, it is that you need to focus on the value and the interest in to the company. Yeah, so why are you motivated to work there? Why are you interested in this particular company? Why would you like to work with them? Why do you think you are the right fit for them? And why do you think this company is the right fit for you? And that's what is very, very helpful. And it might encourage employers when they are reading about your passionate content, your letter of intent, yeah, then they might think, oh, this person actually knows what we're doing here. This person has understood our vision, our mission, and this person really feels the vibe and could be a great asset to our company. Well, that's when you obviously have reached a point that you have convinced the employer, and then they might think about, okay, so we don't have a job opening right now, but maybe we need this person. So let's find a role, let's find a place, a situation, a position that we can fill with that particular person, because whatever the skills of this person are, we need this person in our company. And that's very, very helpful. That's what a letter of intent is very helpful with. So what is actually included in a letter of intent? Well, we have 5 parts. So first of all, it's the greeting or the salutation, which is a little bit, like the greeting or the salutation that you're using on the cover letter as well. And let me tell you this, it always depends on the context, how you're sending it and where you're sending it to. However, normally you still stick to this typical formal letter format. Yeah, so the typical formal letter that you would also use for your cover letter, the same format, that's what you're using for the letter of intent as well. So we have the greeting or the salutation, then the introduction, then the body or the main text, then you need a call to action. Yeah, so what are you intending to do with this letter of intent? That's why it's called letter of intent. And then a closing, obviously. Yeah, and you can use the different steps that you're using for your cover letter as well. However, it is here more important to talk about the company, to find out what this company really is about. What does this company present? How is the image of the company? And why do you think you are passionate about working with them? Yeah, so and that is how you're writing this letter of intent. And for example, sometimes a letter of intent is very typical as well when you're applying for a specific program at a university. So for example, you want to study your master's or your bachelor's degree, and then they're asking you for a letter of interest. Yeah, so something like a motivational letter, Motivationsschreiben. Then this is even a little bit more informal. So you don't have to use this formal format of the cover letter or the formal letter just in general, but you could just start with the greeting or the salutation, and then you go on with your introduction, the body, the call to action, and the closing. So the difference here is that the cover letter or the formal letter format is really stiff, and it doesn't give you a lot of space to explain yourself. And with the letter of intent, you can be a little bit more into detail. You can take a little bit more space, and then you don't have to have this stiff cover letter, formal letter format, okay? Just depending on how much you want to write about the company, yeah? So it's always wonderful if you find this bridge between showing your skills and how you can add value to the company, and obviously showing, and this is more important for the letter of intent, why you want to work with this particular company. Yeah, so why is this company the right fit for you? Why are you the right fit for the company? So basically, you are awesome, I am awesome, let's be awesome together. That's what you want to explain in the letter of intent. And let's dive a little bit more into the detail when you will actually need a letter of intent. So when is it typical to write that? So general application to a company where you want to work with and they don't have a job ad, for example, or, and now be very careful, if the company or the potential employer has asked for it, has requested it in the job listing. Yeah, so sometimes, so here you need to be very careful when you're searching through all of the job boards, and then you see on the bottom of the page, they will say, okay, if you're interested in this job, please send your application to this address. Or then please send your CV and your cover letter to this address. Or please send your entire application package to this address. Or they might as well write, please send your CV and your letter of intent to this address. And when they're writing that in their job listing, they want to find out whether you know the difference between a cover letter and a job and a letter of intent. So make really sure to read the job ad in detail. Yeah. So are they asking for a cover letter, or are they asking for a letter of intent? If they don't specifically say it's that they are searching for or wanting to see a letter of intent, then you can be sure it's a cover letter. Yeah, that's the typical thing. However, for some, it might be also already the first hurdle. Yeah, so the HR person wants to see, okay, does this person read the job listing in detail? Is this person really thoroughly reading this job ad so they understand what a cover letter or a letter of intent is? Because they obviously see that when they get your documents, yeah, when they get your application. Then, like I said before, the job fair, that's very typical when you need a letter of intent. So again, you do all of your research beforehand and find out which companies you want to work with, you find interesting, and then you write a letter of intent according to that company, and then you can have it and hand it out, yeah, digitally or just in person once the job fairs are happening in person again. Then, very, very typical are positions in academic institutions. So like I said, when you're applying for a study program, like a bachelor's or a master's, there might be letters of intent, but also if you want to work with a university, yeah, if you want to have a position with a university as a scientific member, then with any sort of academic institutions, it's very, very common, very typical that you're sending a letter of intent. So you know your area, your industry best. Yeah, so you know in which field you're working in. So if you're working in a scientific field and you're working with universities mainly, you can be sure that they are rather to ask for a letter of intent instead of a cover letter. Okay. And then also getting back to the mergers and acquisitions part of a letter of intent, where it's a contractual agreement between two parties. Yeah. So that's when you also need a letter of intent when inquiring about a potential business partnership. And this is very typical nowadays, because maybe you have come across several job ads that say, for example, especially in my field, human resources, it's really, really typical that they say, we are searching for a human resources business partner. Yeah. So, and these business partners in the different departments, sales business partner, or just any sort of development business partner or something like that, or financial business partner, something like that. That's also very typical when you need a letter of intent. So Banana Split is here. Hi, what a lovely name. That's really cool. Thanks for joining me here. We're talking about the letter of intent today. Yeah, so basically this letter of intent again is about stating your intentions with that particular company. It is about stating your interest, letter of interest, yeah, for this particular company. And it is designed in a way that it's way more focused on the company rather than your own skills. Yeah, it's not so much focusing on your skills and how and that you put that you shine the light on yourself. However, the light is shining on the company. Yeah, so it's way more general in terms of your skill set, but very detailed when it comes to the company. So why do you want to work with that company? And again, what you need to do is take a look at their website. What is their vision? What is their mission? And what kind of news do you find online or in the newspaper? And what kind of social media presence do they have? Maybe they have a specific voluntary project that they are engaging in, and that's why you want to work with them. That is very, very helpful for your letter of intent. So, and now let's take a little look at the difference in phrasing. So, for example, if you're phrasing your interest within a cover letter, you would say something like, I'm highly interested in the position as account manager at company so-and-so for the following reasons. Yeah, so you are stating the specific role. You say, interested in the position of an account manager. Yeah. However, now with the letter of intent, we do it in a different way. So you're writing, I'm highly interested in a managerial position at the particular company for the following reasons. Okay, so you're still stating what kind of level you're looking for, but you're not stating whether you're a product manager or account manager, a sales manager or whatever, but a managerial role. Yeah, so here you see, oh, okay, so yeah, it's not so much focused on the candidate itself. So it's not so much focused on you as an applicant, but rather on the company. Yeah. So, and then in the following, so like the following reasons, and then you follow and you list all of the different reasons that you have why you would like to work with that particular company. Okay, so, and now last but not least, I wanted to share with you guys, why do companies actually ask for a letter of intent? Yeah, because obviously you've probably never come across this, or you don't come across this fact that they're asking for a letter of intent very often. So why do some companies do that? Well, there are two reasons that I wanted to share with you. So first of all, it might be that the HR people that are responsible for finding suitable candidates are torn between different positions, and they don't really know, okay, which position do we now want to fill? Yeah, so they are not really sure what they are looking for, and that's when they're asking for a letter of intent. Or it can also be that the company just simply wants to broaden their candidate pool. Yeah, so they want to see what is actually out there. We want to open our eyes and open our minds. David is here. Hi, David. Thanks for joining me. I'm talking about letters of intent today. So, so the employers, the potential employers, the HR people who are advertising jobs, they want to just see what kind of potential is out there. They also want to find out, okay, where is our industry heading to? Yeah, so what kind of candidates are out there that we have not had a clue that they are out there, but they would be a perfect fit for us. Yeah, and that is what a letter of intent is for, which is why the companies are sometimes asking for it. And again, especially in the university areas, with academic institutions, it's very typical that they are asking for a letter of intent. So that's basically it for this session today. So I'm very, very glad that you guys were here. Just looking whether anybody had any comments at some point. Can't see anything right now. Let me just quickly have a look on Facebook just in case. If you have any questions here on Instagram as well, let me know. And so if you wanted to go more into detail, or you need help with finding, with writing and phrasing your cover letter, with finding or with writing and phrasing your letter of intent, well, feel free to reach out. You can always go through the links in my bio to contact me and book a free consultation with me. And then we will find out whether I might be able to help you and that we can work together towards your dream job here in Germany. So thank you very much, you guys, for joining me here. And I wish you a wonderful week. I'll see you again next Wednesday. Bye.